wife placed a mannequin identical to herself inside the car. She then threw her phone and ID on the mannequin. Next, she filled the car with gasoline. She took out a lighter and set the car on fire. Without a second glance, she walked away from the sad scene. When her husband arrived upon hearing the news, he only saw the burnt-out car. He realized that the wife who had deeply loved him was gone forever. But now, it was too late to regret, as it was all his fault. 5 years ago, the woman had been intentionally hit by her best friend driving a car. Her best friend dragged the woman into the driver's seat, pretending to be her driving. Then she took a wrench from the trunk and smashed it onto her own knee. She didn't stop until her knee was completely shattered. Then, she lay on the ground and screamed for help, claiming that the woman had run into her and beaten her. The husband, without asking for the details, assumed that it was his wife who had hit and injured her best friend. With the testimonies of her husband and children, the woman was ultimately sentenced to 5 years in prison for intentional injury. While in prison, her best friend didn't spare her, coming in repeatedly to beat and insult her. After 5 years, when the woman was released from prison, her husband came to pick her up with a bouquet of red roses. But instead of bringing her home, he made her apologize and make amends to her best friend. Hearing this, the woman's heart broke. She couldn't believe that the husband she had loved for over 20 years only cared about others. When her best friend's husband and son passed away, the woman had kindly taken her in to live with her family. Now, her best friend seemed to want to take her husband and children from her. It felt like she had become an outsider. She didn't want to see them all happy together, so she walked out of the performance hall, staring blankly at her past award-winning dance performance photos. At that moment, her teacher suddenly appeared, asking her if she would consider leaving her family to study abroad. The woman had once given up her career for her family, but now, without hesitation, she agreed to her teacher's offer, ready to start a new life abroad. However, the next day, while taking the elevator, an accident happened. Her best friend deliberately pressed the remote control, causing the elevator to malfunction. Then she pretended to have claustrophobia and threw herself into the man's arms. The children, in a panic, rushed to call for help. When the elevator door opened, the three of them helped her best friend out, completely forgetting that it was the woman who had real claustrophobia. At home, the woman thought to herself that as long as she could endure the last 10 days, she would be free. But unexpectedly, her best friend refused to let her go. She tied her to the railroad tracks as a test, to see who her husband cared about more. When the husband and children rushed over, her best friend deliberately tied herself to the tracks as well. Only 30 seconds remained before the train arrived. The man saw that there was only a pair of scissors on the tracks. He didn't know who to save first. At this point, the best friend pretended to be kind, telling him to save his wife first, saying that they were the real family. The man, upon hearing this, turned around to save her best friend. With just 5 seconds left, he carried the best friend away, abandoning the woman. This scene devastated the woman. Driven by a strong will to survive, she struggled against the ropes. Just before the train came, she managed to free her bound hands, but when she limped back home, bloodied and bruised, the best friend falsely accused her, saying that the woman had staged the whole thing to test her husband's loyalty. Generously, she told them not to blame the woman. Then, she fiercely grabbed the woman's injured wrist, and while no one was paying attention, pushed her into the swimming pool. The man, knowing that his wife couldn't swim, did nothing to save her, and walked away with the best friend. Even her son and daughter ignored her.